This episode is brought to you by me and my book, How to Stop Hating the Law. If you're a lawyer who detests the practice of law, this book can provide a path to hope. You can buy it at my website, stuartteicher.com. Let's start with what could arguably be considered one of the most famous moments of the civil rights movement, the story of a woman who decided to take a stand. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks was commuting home from work on a Montgomery, Alabama bus. The incident that occurred, which happened right here, would go down in history, right here in downtown Montgomery, Alabama. This is the building where Rosa Parks worked, and she came down after work one day, right down to this spot, and this is where she got on the bus. Here's the very spot where she got on the bus. The bus went down the street around the corner, and she was let off a couple of blocks away. According to History.com, at the time, segregation was written into law. The front of the Montgomery bus was reserved for white citizens, and the seats behind them for black citizens. However, it was only by custom that bus drivers had the authority to ask a black person to give up a seat for a white rider. There were contradictory Montgomery laws on the books. One said segregation must be enforced, but the other, largely ignored, said that no person, white or black, could be asked to give up a seat even if there were no other seats on the bus available. Well, at one point during Mrs. Parks' short trip, a white man had no seat because all the seats in the designated white section were taken. So the driver told the riders in the four seats of the first row of the colored section to stand, in effect adding another row to the white section. 3 other people obeyed. Rosa Parks did not. Reports over the years claim that Rosa Parks was physically tired and wasn't able to leave her seat, but according to the National Constitution Center, that's not true. They explained that she refused to surrender her seat as a matter of principle. Rosa Parks was arrested and charged with violating segregation laws. But she wasn't about to take this fiasco sitting down. As a longtime member of the NAACP and a highly respected member of the community, she was committed to acting, and she wasn't alone. Rosa Parks' arrest served as a catalyst for a group of local activists to take action. They decided to protest Ms. Parks' arrest by boycotting the city buses on the day of her trial. On December 5th, 1955, Rosa Parks went to trial, and she was eventually found guilty of violating the laws on segregation. She received a suspended sentence and was fined $10. On December 5th, 1955, the first day of the Montgomery bus boycott, thousands of African-American Montgomery residents gathered here at the Holt Street Baptist Church for the meeting of the Montgomery Improvement Association. At that meeting, they realized that the protest the community had organized did much better than anticipated, so they decided to take advantage of the momentum and continue the boycott. They elected a young, up-and-coming 26-year-old to head that Montgomery Improvement Association. His name was Martin Luther King Jr. The MIA created a huge carpool system with 40 pickup stations around town. The Montgomery bus boycott began on December 5th, 1955, and lasted for 381 days. African Americans in Montgomery walked, carpooled, and used other means of transportation, refusing to ride the buses until they were desegregated. The boycott garnered significant attention, and Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as a prominent leader in the civil rights movement. In November of 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in the case of Browder v. Gale that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. This decision marked a major victory for the civil rights movement and brought an end to the Montgomery bus boycott. The successful boycott not only led to the desegregation of buses in Montgomery, but also inspired other nonviolent protests and actions in the broader struggle for civil rights across the United States. Rosa Parks' courageous act and the subsequent boycott played a crucial role in challenging racial segregation and paving the way for further advancements in the fight for equality. The building behind me is where Rosa Parks worked before she got on the bus that day. The protest was not without personal sacrifice for her. Just 5 weeks after the boycott, she lost her job. Shortly after, her husband Raymond was forced to leave his job as well. They weren't able to get work and they were forced to leave the area. Eventually, they settled in Detroit.